Hello everybody out there in internet land. It's me once again, Rasheedah Prioleau, with another episode of my video blog. For those of you who do not know who I am an author of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And you can find out more about me and my books on my website, RasheedahPrioleau.com. Today I am continuing the interview series with the authors of Colors in Darkness. Colors in Darkness is a Facebook page dedicated to writers of color in the genre of horror. So if you go to Facebook and you type in Colors in Darkness, you'll find the Facebook page. I'm on it along with a lot of other really great writers. Today I am continuing the interview series with the author Lori Titus. She wrote the novella The Moon Goddess, which she was very generous enough to send a free e-copy for me to review. The Moon Goddess follows the story of a young lady named Lenny who has to return home from college after her father has abandoned her mother. When she returns home, she encounters an old flame by the name of Percy, and she is roped into the crazy world of a witch named Emma Mercier. The novel is short, so that's about all I can tell you. I do recommend that you go ahead and give it a read. In this book, the one thing I really like is the fact that you can't tell who's good and who's bad. The moral compass of monsters always leaves something to be desired. And this book is definitely an example of how.
Hello, my name is Lori Titus. I am an author from Southern California, and Rasheedah asked me to be part of her series of author interviews for video blogs for 2016. So I just want to thank her and thank you for spending a little time with us today. So just to let you know a little bit about myself, I grew up in a household with a mother and sister who were big horror fans, and so I always give them the credit for my love of horror. I usually write horror fiction. Some of it is paranormal, speculative fiction in general. I've had short stories here and there that have been different things. I also do some ghostwriting, and my ghostwriting work is actually romance. But here, today, we're going to talk about my horror work. So, one of the things that happens when you come up with an older sister who is a horror fan is, in my case, she read to me. She read Shirley Jackson. She read Macbeth. She read Edgar Allan Poe. And pretty much anything that she could get her hands on. Grimm's fairy tales were big in our house too. And we were also people that loved to watch horror movies. So growing up in that environment, when I started to write stories, of course, the first thing that I wrote were about monsters and different dimensions. Later on, I started writing high fantasy, kingdoms and fairy tales, princes and princesses fighting wars and leading these extravagant lives, things little girls dream about. I think that it's great because horror, sci-fi, all of these things make you think about life outside of yourself. They make you think about what would happen under a given situation if people were this way or that way. And you can talk about things that affect people in real life, but you can do it in a way that isn't frightening to people, where people come without judgments, where they say, oh, well, this is another world, this is another group of people. And you can show them things and make them see, oh, so this is what it's like to feel a certain way, to be the cast out, the left out person, the one that society doesn't like. And it also gives you that ability to create characters that in some way feel weak, but are actually strong and show those strengths as they grow. So those are things that are fun and are great about speculative fiction, horror fiction, paranormal, all of these things that sort of stretch the boundaries of the world that we know. My career has had an interesting little zigzag path, and people as writers love to tell you, oh, I did things this way, and do it my way, it works that way. But what I've found is that as far as writing is concerned, it may be the same goal or similar, but everybody has a different way of getting there. For me, I started off with short stories, and I submitted them a bunch of places. And once I started getting things published, I got approached to actually write a serial for an online website. Well, that worked out for me because it taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to write for deadlines, how to write for word count, how to vary themes and actions in a story where people are actually waiting to see your work and you're getting feedback for it all the time. So that serial actually ended up becoming my first novel, which is called Hunting in Closed Spaces. Hunting in Closed Spaces is about a girl named Meredith Ryder, and she has always had powers which have, first of all, she's been told by her family that for her own protection, she needs to keep secret. But secondly, she doesn't really know why she has these powers or where they come from. So this story is her journey in finding out why exactly she has the gifts that she does, and her also trying to survive because someone is out to get her. Her powers are very useful to some people, and while she poses a threat to some, she's a valuable commodity to others. So this young girl is growing and learning, finding out how to control these things, and at the same time running for her life, basically. A very fun book. So right now there is one novel complete in the series. There are 3 novellas. The novellas can be read in any order. And there is a second novel that will be out later this year. My plans are to make it a 3-novel loop, and there will be more novellas as well, which not only feature Meredith, but some of the other characters in the series that people like. The hardest part of writing isn't exactly the writing itself. Most writers will tell you that they enjoy writing and getting those voices of the characters onto the page, seeing what they're going to do, because sometimes you have one thing planned and they have another plan in mind. And as weird as that may sound, they really do get to be like your children. You give them life, you teach them everything you can, but at some point they go off and they do their own stuff. And sometimes all you can do is sit there and go, oh, this is not going to end well for this kid. So you sort of hope that there's a way to kind of steer them home just a little bit, but there are times when the characters are in control. Now, a lot of people will tell you they don't like editing. For me, I actually enjoy the editing process most of the time. Every once in a while it can be overwhelming, but the thing that's great about the editing process is when you get to the point where you're seeing your manuscript really become clean. You see things sort of even out. You see errors being taken away. You're getting to that true voice and those true images that you saw in your head when you created the story. The cleaner the story becomes. So for me, that's an exciting thing. Now, self-publishing is a big thing right now. A lot of people will tell you that they believe in the old-fashioned way of publishing and that, it's not good if you don't go through a large company. I will tell you, I have been someone who's worked with small presses before, and I've also published on my own. And I really do think self-publishing has many advantages. First of all, if you're a control freak, like most writers actually are, you get to control what you do. You get to control what your image is. You get to pick when exactly your book is going to be released, what exactly the cover is. The marketing plan is something that you get to make up yourself. So if you need flexibility because you have a family to take care of, or you have obligations, work, whatever it may be, you actually get a chance to work around that and not have to worry about your company saying, well, we want you to do this from May to June and you need to be at these particular places. And if you want to not market that much, you can do that. And then on the other hand, if you want to be out there and do a lot of the marketing, it's all up to you. So I think just the amount of choice that you have makes, for me, self-publishing is really a preferable option. Well, first of all, reviews are important because the more our books get reviewed on places like Amazon, for instance, the more those books actually come up when someone is looking for something in that genre or they're looking at a similar author. They also will put up a suggestion. You might like this book as well. And a lot of sales actually go off of that. People do look at the suggestions and say, well, maybe I'll try this out. So having reviews in that way is very good. The thing that I don't like, and really the only thing that I don't like about reviews, is when people leave a negative review and they don't say why. Or they say, I didn't read this book, but I don't like it. So those are a couple things. I think most authors would probably agree with me that if you really didn't like it, tell us why. It's okay, our feelings won't be hurt. But if you tell us why, we can do a couple things. We can listen to you. And if it's a valid argument, we can work on it for next time. Sometimes it's an error somewhere that was made that can actually be fixed. Because when you're a self-published author, guess what? If there's something you don't like about your book, you can pull it down for a couple days, fix it, and repost it, which is something else that does not happen with traditional publishers. If there's a mistake somewhere and it gets past the editing team and it goes out, sorry, that's it. So that's just my thoughts about reviews and how they work and how very important they are. And by the way, just so you know, authors really do appreciate those reviews too. We look at every single one and, we may not say anything because usually you shouldn't, but we notice them. I can tell you that 5 years ago, I did not see myself where I am right now, where I've been immersed in a lot of different parts of writing and I have had a chance to try so many different things. So I will tell you that eventually I would love to learn some screenwriting. I'd love to write a play. I want to get some more books out. I have not only ideas for books, but I have some works in progress that are on the kitchen stove right now, so to speak. So those are all important things. But where I will really be and what I'll exactly be doing in 5 years, other than telling you I'll be writing, I don't know. So we'll see. That's a journey we'll take together. So thank you so much for letting me spend a little bit time with you. Again, my name is Lori Titus. You can find me on Amazon.com. If you follow my author page, you will get an advance notice whenever any of my new work comes out. You can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is LoriBeth215 on Twitter. And you can even find me on Facebook. I'm there. And there's a few Lori Tituses, but you'll find me pretty easily. So thank you again, and I hope to have a chance to entertain you with some of my work in the future. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.